No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. The
And that's how we started out, kids, with Zach
50
Bankman
on
Chop.
Trusty's side kicked to place in the 7th. That's right. He's named after a horse.
Trusty number 7. All right, guys. For those of you who just tuned in and haven't left in the first 17 seconds, we're talking about part 2 of our little. We're doing a 3-part retrospective on. Well, if you haven't guessed by the thumbnail, I mean, you might need some help then. This is issues 5 through 8 of, well, Secret Wars. Well, not so much anymore. It's not a secret anymore. But it's not your Hickman's war. It's your daddy shooter's war.
That's right. Papa Shooter.
Papa. You probably shouldn't say that.
No, it doesn't sound right, does it?
How
No.
come you didn't go and go, hello, everybody?
Because honestly, I
This is the
found
Comic
out
Frog and the Geek Puppet Show, and today we are here for
the
what?
reason-
For what?
the reason I didn't do that because I looked at because on the analytics on the videos, that's where people click off.
A little bit.
Yes,
I could see that.
and it just sounds weird coming out of a guy instead of a puppet. You know, it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's I can't. I don't have long enough fingers to do it.
Now you're talking.
Issues 5 through 8. A lot happens in this, but I gotta say, one of my favorite parts is what happens to Jan in this. You know?
Is that the part I'm thinking of? Hang on. I
Like
think
the
it might
lizard
be.
man.
Oh yeah,
And the
yeah,
giant tank from like Mattel Toys.
yeah. There are some scenes in here. You're
Now
like,
I can
oh, that's where they're advertising.
now I can see reading these why there was a toy line, because that was a huge battle tank, and like if they actually sold it as a toy, I can only imagine how much it's cost, because costs now because worth, because He-Man had toys like that. G.I. Joe had
G.I.
tanks
Joe
like that
did,
too,
yeah.
and those
Batman
are worth the money
did.
now.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just a manlier dollhouse.
No such thing as a dollhouse. It's a mansion. It's a man cave. That's what we call
A
it
man cave for children.
for young men,
Eh.
and they're awesome tanks.
Tomato, tomato.
Yes. So
3,
this
2, 1.
see how hard that sounds when you hear you laugh. Sorry.
Yeah, it did sound a little unnerving.
I'm gonna soundbite that and just play it as a sound every time you need to laugh. Let's play that.
It sounds like Elmer Fudd.
It sounds like Echo the Dolphin.
Elmer Fudd. As the
Anyway,
dolphin.
so this is issues 5 through 8. This is my first time reading through these. I know Zach said you've already read through these before, so it's something new. So if you don't show up next week, we got Holler Mouse probably anyway. So that's okay.
I'm replaceable. I'm not a real guest anyway.
You're not a real boy.
Nope, I'm Pinocchio apparently.
Yeah. So it is interesting to read this. I mean, if I'd have read this as a kid, I probably would have liked it a whole lot more, because it's just like, it's crazy how I think happens here. Not to say that I don't like it now. I still do like it, but I can see kids are just like, reading this when it's growing up, just your mind is like, what the heck is going on here? Because it is just craziness with Galactus, with Doom, Professor Xavier being a dick, just this, and when Cyclops doing the typical cliche he does Wolverine, causing Wolverine. He's like, Wolverine's going for the kill. He's like, no, don't. He's like, and he's just, what the hell's your problem? That's classic Wolverine and Cyclops, banter. Which I kind of like.
Boy Scout Cyclops, yeah.
Yep, Boy Scout, he's like, once you kill, you become the enemy. I'm thinking like Wolverine's like, I'll kill you first, then I'm but it is cool to see Cyclops I guess laser vision or energy blast, optic blast.
Optic blast, yeah.
Next time he does the white arcs, it always reminds you of Superman, when he uses a heat vision on stuff. Well, I guess it would probably be pre-crisis, because post-crisis you didn't see the rays, you just saw his eyes glow, which I thought was cool.
Who are we talking about?
Post-crisis Superman.
Oh,
the heat vision. And it was did you see the lasers back when he was in pre-crisis? Did they actually do laser beams like Cyclops? or was it still the circles glowing?
I think it was just beams.
Yeah. So as I said, when I saw Cyclops doing this, the white arc, and he's taking on stuff, and it's like I kept thinking like, oh, this is Superman Vision. No, but different. Hey, there's a dog in the background.
Yeah, he's hanging out with me.
Have him sit on your lap the whole entire time, and we'll get more views.
God, no, he's like 70 pounds.
Well, then just put him there on the chair, and you go the other room.
I'm on this tiny little chair. My regular desk chair died the other day. It fell apart on me, so I'm waiting for a new one.
Murdered.
I'm on this like little folding chair right now. I had to actually adjust the camera so I don't look as short. Remember the other night? I was like your level. I was like this. I had to adjust my camera.
So, Zach, I gotta ask you. This is your second time going through.
This is like my 5th or 6th time going through. Yeah.
All right, Brian. This is your first time reading it in 20 years. 30 years.
That is true.
Is it as great as you remember reading it the first time?
Yeah, I think it holds up. I'll tell you why. It's become one of those series that's become convenient for people to dump on.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be willing to bet that most of the people that do that haven't read it once, let alone more than once. And granted, this was done to sell toys.
Yeah,
they could have phoned it in, but Shooter, is a good writer, and he wanted to tell a story that was actually worth the time and money from the comic book reader. He wasn't. He was between the pages. I don't think he was concerned about selling toys. That was going to come organically. So I think that's
and I kind of agree with that.
Put a lot of effort into the story.
I agree with that statement because when I go back and it didn't look like an 80s He-Man cartoon.
No,
clearly aimed for toys.
Right.
This actually had meat, potatoes, and actually like a thought process behind it.
Well, you also have consequences that come after the story that stay in the Marvel universe for like years.
I'd almost would argue that it's almost reading it. You wouldn't even know there's a toy sale for that. Toys based off of this.
No, you don't. That's the point. That's what made this work. It'll come back to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, also Bob Layton's art on this is just great on here too, and really enjoying every little detail he does. And then, like I said, Jim Shooter's writing, it's heavy. It is heavy in dialogue. So if you're one of those people that does not like dialogue, I'd still recommend you give it a try. But I mean,
it is heavier in dialogue than I remember it being, but the dialogue is significantly better than a Bendis book, which Bendis books are usually very heavy in dialogue as well, but the writing here is at least better.
There's nothing wrong with a lot of exposition if they have something to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the expression "word vomit" absolutely does not apply to this series.
Mm-hmm.
No,
and you probably thought it was wordier than you remembered, Zach, because
a little bit, yeah,
because of all the modern comics you've been reading.
Yeah,
where it's either the Bendis extreme or the thing that he likes to say. One panel I, next panel am, next panel falling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All those useless word bubbles.
And then probably a full page to have him say, I can't get up.
Well, they also don't have like those. I saw this recently on Twitter, people showing examples where you'll have like 6 or 8 different panels, but the character is just standing there in the same position throughout all the panels. Like it's like this waiting process between sentences. There's not a wasted page.
You mean like the diner scene where they see him sitting next to each other, just drinking coffee for like 6 all the way through down the bottom, and it's just like, the last panel, he's like, but at the end, just drinks. This is random.
I gotta ask LK real quick. Did you get hit with some new returning mandates?
I think you got hit with monkeypox.
Banana.
Bananas cure monkeypox.
Yeah, I saw that potassium in there.
Yep, that's what you need.
So, back to issue 5.
Yes.
Number 5.
It opens up, and the very first thing you see is you find out why Galactus has been standing on top of a hill for the last 3 issues. He's up there with his arms stretched out like this. Everyone's like, what's going on?
It's
Well, you
creating a
find out
spirit bomb.
his giant house that's like the size of a solar system.
He summoned
It's
it, yeah.
massive. He summons, I mean, you see, they do like these far out shots where there's like Galactus's home, and then here's Battle World. It's like this tiny, and his home is like this big. So,
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It looks like a little theme park, or an international space station, almost like, you know. It's so crazy because I remember reading the Coming of Galactus and stuff, the Fantastic Four.
mhm.
I remember they showed a device, or they showed. I guess they didn't show his homeworld. They showed something, but it wasn't. I don't think it was like this. So I think they retconned it. Maybe wasn't that his? That was his ship that he was on when he got to Fantastic Four the first time, and they got the Ultra. Was it the Ultimate Nullifier?
Yeah, you know, no, that was the Watcher's home.
Oh, the Watchers. Yeah. Oh, that was the Watchers home. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
Galactus
that was. No, but I
wasn't
mean,
gonna
on the
send
planet.
the torch to get the weapon that can stop him.
He had the device. You know, he had 2 separate devices. He had the one in space, and then he had the one he was using on there. So it almost seems like this is like something new, or they changed what they showed on space in Fantastic Four.
Is it possible that it was new?
Yeah.
Because it would soon be on the shelves at your local KB.
Wow, I want to see the size of that playset.
And then you have in Matchbox cars with each character, like Hawkeye and Iron Man have their own cars. Oh wait, no, that's.
Oh yeah, it could be like a Hot Wheels track, couldn't it? I would buy that.
It lights up, and your gerbil can crawl through the tubes.
Your gerbil.
Well, LK, I would ignore that. God, going back to indoor mask mandates, you've got to be effing kidding me.
Well, if they said indoor mask mandate, then just stand outside, right? Not to wear a mask outside.
If they're doing this in June of 2022, it ain't going away.
Yeah.
Until everybody just says, up yours.
Yep.
So one of the first things that we get to here in this story, you know, there's the scene where Colossus is just laying in bed, and he's thinking of Kitty. And I remember this is one of my favorite hilarious scenes in the book. He's just like laying there. He's like homesick. He's like, oh, Kitty, I long for us to. And all of a sudden, Professor X just pops into his mind and like scares him out of bed. Just cracks me up every time. It's like, yeah, okay, all right, I'm coming, Professor. Cracks me up. But yeah, we see here Magneto and Professor X they're playing nice now. They're on the same side because the mutants, they got to stick together. And yeah, they're getting ready. They're gonna finally get back into it instead of isolating. They're about to get back into the fray.
Now, this book is guilty of one thing that, I mean, I know why, because it's a trope, but when you have the characters speak in the third person to like reintroduce themselves, if by the 5th issue, if you don't know that's Nightcrawler, you don't know that's Storm, you probably need to wait till your mommy and daddy can read it to you.
That's true. They do have that happen. We also get a fun little scene here. It then switches over to the villains, and there's Molecule Man and Volcana. They're walking through this. It's like an outdoor garden area at their headquarters.
They're holding arms. He's like a little kid. He's like
They're
the nerd with the tall, hot cheerleader.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, for lack of a better term, it's pretty accurate. And then, you know, there's the Wrecking Crew and the Absorbing Man, and they're like, hey, here comes the Milksop and his cow of a girlfriend, hardy har. And like Volcana is like about to just go like rip. She's like the protective girlfriend kind of as well.
As we get another viewpoint from behind a tree, we have Titania basically like, oh, she's basically mothering that wimp, you know. And so she's watching as this goes on, and you see the Malcolm Man. He's mad because, you know, he's being bullied. He's first asleep, but then, you know, they call her names, and so he gets pissed off.
Yeah.
I forget one of the wreckers. He's the one with the blonde hair. He changes his suit to basically
pile driver. I think is the blonde.
probably pile driver into like solid steel armor.
Mm-hmm.
So and then he falls over and then of course you got a volcano just stepped on his head and it's like eat more mud, dirtbag.
Yeah, so then like the other wreckers are like,
because he can't breathe. Yeah.
Like, okay, we're gonna back off now.
The suit's so tight that he can't breathe. Remember, it was a skin. Probably was wearing a leotard. You think about it. If it's that tight on him that he can't breathe, they have to rip it off.
Yeah.
And then you see Titania comes out and it's like, really? What a wimp! I would have ripped him in half, and they would have said that crap to me. It's like you were standing behind a tree doing nothing.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Titania.
She's just jealous, and she's just jealous of her childhood friend. As a man now, that's what it is.
Well, Titania ends up getting hers.
Yeah, that's
probably Crusher Creel.
It's Absorbent. Yeah, Crusher is the Absorbent Man, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They do end up together.
Now, correct me if I'm mistaken, but does anybody here think Volcano was fat?
No.
No.
She's more like Gina Carano in build. She's not
bodied, but I wouldn't say fat.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, man, no, yeah.
It just shows you how stupid they are.
But I guess it explains why why nobody in the Wrecking Crew ever has a date. I mean, if your standards, if you look like these guys, and your standards are that higher than her,
bros before girls, I guess. Apparently, they'd rather just hang out and drink beers than actually go out and like talk to a girl.
Maybe. Well, this is the Wrecking Crew. I mean, I don't take the Wrecking Crew. I'm actually surprised they last and they stick around as long here. Cause they're bad guys, but they're not like in the same caliber. I think as Doom. Or
they're goons. That's all they ever been is goons.
Yeah. Here's the thing. They were once upon a time. The Wrecker went toe to toe with Thor after Odin had stripped his hammer of the enchantment, and it was an even fight because. The crowbar had gotten Norn magic applied to it, so it.
Okay.
I believe from either Loki or Carnilla. But and then when they introduced the regular Wrecking Crew in Defenders, it was the tail end of issue 17 and then 18 and 19, I believe, or 18 was the story. Yes, they lost, but they lost to Doctor Strange. The Hulk ended up showing up. Well, he didn't really do much, and Luke Cage, but they, like so many other characters, because you can't write competent villains anymore. They have to. They're just there to be one punched the panel before the emotional validation starts.
Right.
Now that Iron Fist you were talking about today.
Yeah,
that's who they're fighting.
Okay.
Because the Wrecker kidnaps Misty Knight, and Iron Fist comes to try to get her back, and they tell us that you'll get her back if you go to Avengers Mansion and kill every Avenger you see. So he goes looking for Iron Man because he's the only Avenger he'd met in the first issue of his title, and then unbeknownst to anyone, they set a trap. The Wrecking Crew shows up. And the Avengers use their version of the Danger Room to defeat him. But because they knew Captain America himself and Iron Fist had no shot. 2-on-4. So they basically used the home court advantage and cheated like hell. But you told me how much they were asking for it. You can get it a lot cheaper than that. But I absolutely, there's an Iron Fist Epic collection that has Premiere 15 through 25, I believe the series was. Iron Fist 1 through 15, which is the entire series. And that's, unless you get crazy ideas about finishing the set, first Sabretooth is number 14.
Jeez.
But and then there's appearance in like Team Up 31 and maybe the one in issue 63.
Maybe we'll get more views.
Just like this one little corner.
Zach has a tail.
He's happy. Tell us more.
Talking about Iron Fist.
But it's a tremendous story. It's Byrne and Claremont, so you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they did all 15 Iron Fist issues.
Nice,
very cool.
Yeah, I was going through this issue 5 again and refreshing my memory because I read it earlier today.
Yeah.
And the whole, I guess Zashi is the girl, the healer of the town.
Yeah,
Zashi. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a weird name, and I've
heard it both ways.
Zaji, Haji, Zashi, I don't know. Zashi.
Johnny Storm's alien girlfriend.
Well, as far as we know, girlfriend, because he assumes after they have this melding of the minds, after he smokes this herbal.
Right. Smoke the space weed.
Yeah, she healed them, and then she healed Spider-Man, I guess, because the X-Men, they get in a battle with the X-Men, and the X-Men come to join the fight between the Avengers, the Cap, and basically Doom's Citadel, or army guy groups of villains.
Yeah.
And again, the X-Men leaves Colossus behind. And Colossus basically doesn't want anybody touching him at all or to help at first.
Right.
But it's weird because I think this is going in the issue 6. This part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's towards the end.
After he finally accepts getting healed by her, he can't stop thinking about her. So this makes me wonder: is she really a good person, or is she just as a side effect of her healing people that people fall in love?
I think it's just Colossus. I honestly, I still can't think of a logical reason for this whole switch. Like up until now, all he's doing is thinking of Kitty. It's like, oh, I miss Kitty, and then all of a sudden he gets healed, and now Zashi's like a mind worm.
Because he saw how Johnny, he's like getting sick by Johnny, and like, oh, look at him. And they're like, oh, the way she's looking at him, like, oh, she's quick, gross. But then he gets jealous, calls her over to heal him, and then the next night he has a dream about her instead of Kitty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. While we're on this subject, we were talking about how this series had consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, one of them was Uncanny X-Men 184, when Wolverine, I think a Nightcrawler, take Peter to this honky-tonk bar, and there's a woman sitting at the bar. There's Juggernaut, and then there's this woman.
Is there an orangutan and a guy drinking beer in a white shirt?
No, there's this close one. When he gets bumped by Colossus, because Colossus is drunk, they start a brawl. But before the brawl gets going, another man sits down next to the woman, and you see later in the issue, she kills him. She's a succubus. I believe it was Celine's first appearance.
Celine, yeah.
But Wolverine set this up for Colossus to get his ass kicked for what he did to Kitty on the Secret Wars planet. Basically, because while they were gone, she also agreed to marry Caliban of the Morlocks.
Right. I remember that one.
And Peter didn't show any appreciation for that because she was going to do it to save their lives. Mm-hmm. And so, I said Wolverine took him out. Like I said, for a good old ass whooping. So that's it's a minor consequence, but this does lead to something.
Yeah.
More hate on Colossus.
Yeah.
Well, they're the only group of people we're allowed to hate. So let's.
Well,
Russians. Russians or mutants. Yeah, exactly. But and then
Russian mutants.
It's the best of both worlds. But then we see when the issue ends, Doom has gone up to Galactus's home, and he's just kind of prowling around looking for something to kind of give him an edge in this whole contest of the Beyonder. And I think he makes his appearance in number 6, who Doom is looking for. But I don't want to jump ahead. Was there anything else in issue 5 that stood out to you?
The Avengers, when the Avengers got hurt with the Colossus stuff, the X-Men came to help them out. They were battling against Galactus's giant robot.
Oh yeah, the giant house
It's
cat.
kind
or
of
something,
like
I think it's called.
when the Avengers would go against, what was it, Ultimo?
Ultron.
Ultron. Wasn't there?
Ultimo was also a robot, giant robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah,
Fought Iron Man twice, like 12 years apart, give or take.
Didn't Hawkeye go against him in the king size Avengers?
That's Arsenal.
Arsenal, okay.
That was a program set up by Tony's father that didn't realize the programming was obsolete.
That was the one that was inside the rope. That was the one that was underneath the cliff, and then Thor had Iron Man had to fight against him.
Yeah, they used him a couple times, but one the annual Avengers Annual 9. And if you need any incentive to go get it, it's one of the rare Don Newton at Marvel art. If that name doesn't ring a bell,
it's Jim Newton's brother.
He was a Charlton standout, but he made his career at DC. He did a lot of those Batmans and detectives from the late 70s through the middle 80s that were really when Batman was like at its peak.
All right. Don't get Shane for that info.
I'm here for the color commentary.
Zach's not.
That's true.
That's rude. It's my birthday. You need to be nice to me.
Your birthday?
Well, tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we got till tomorrow.
You've got 3.5 hours to be as mean.
Screw that. I'm doing this from Hawaii. I got 8.
No, Brain's got dementia. He doesn't know when your birthday is.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jim Swords?
Who am I? Why am I here?
Where are my pants?
Oh my gosh. Honey, have you seen my pants?
Mr. President?
So yeah, it's actually there's a lot of action in this. You get Rogue hitting a rock that was thrown at her. You got Wolverine's going versus Ultron, and this is only in issue 5.
Yeah. It's back-to-back battles because the Avengers first are fighting the giant robot, and then Dr.
Thor randomly appears here, and he has his cape. But then you see him in the later issue, he doesn't have a cape.
Yeah, there was something like I think his cape and his helmet were both supposed to be damaged. Ultron blasts him, and then with an incinerator, and his cape and his helmet's all that's left.
Put me in on this because it's been a while since I read issue 4. I think it was issue 4. They said how did he get back?
I think he heard he heard what Molecule Man done when he dropped the mountain on him.
Yeah.
And that's what made him go back.
Okay. Because that was one thing I was like, wait, he's just randomly back, like nothing happened. Like I must have missed something in that. So, but I was too busy reading 5 through 8, so I didn't have a chance to go back. I was gonna add another issue because that would have been like crazy. Because like I said, word dialogue.
And you know who had to hold it up by himself?
The big guy.
Well, you know, brother.
And he used 2 hands, but it was so big.
Yes. Oh goodness gracious!
He took one of his hands off to point at it.
He didn't get a grip on himself that day.
I like at the end of issue 5, it says "This is the way" with Doom. That's
Oh, does it?
No, it says the next issue, "The Way."
Oh, the way, yeah. And I gotta say, the cover for number 6 is actually I actually really like the cover for number 6.
Yes,
it's got all the villains. Easy right there, and there's even if you look
full screen him for a sec. So do
we have to? Do you really want to look at him?
Well, yeah, as long as it's blocking his face.
Yeah, my face isn't seen. It's okay.
Oh, it got really dark in his room.
There's a villain up here. You gotta look and find him. There is a new appearance. His first time in.
His name's Claw.
Who could it be? Oh well, you just gave it away. Okay, but yeah,
he's the only red guy there. You notice he stands right out around the sea of green.
He's the commie. No,
he's a big ball of energy.
Yeah, but I really do. This is a really cool cover.
Well, in honor of his first appearance in the series, thank you, Zach. Ack.
You're welcome, Breen. Een.
Yeah, this is the issue with the lizard finally. We had like 5 issues, and like, hey, remember the lizard was in the issue 1?
Yeah, the lizard just kind of vanished for a
In
little
a little
bit.
habitat and stuff, and then it's like you just got Janet complaining in this because she's in her little ship trying to
She
get
can't
away.
drive.
She can't fly. And she's like, "Oh, I hate
Well,
this."
of course she can't drive. She's a woman. Oh,
She is such a spoiled diva in this series.
She really is.
And she's like, I'd rather just be at home, and just like, go on the 21, and then have my coffee and just taking a nice nap and stuff, and just like, shut up. And you see the lizard. And she comes across the lizard in the swamp.
Mhm.
And
He like knocks over a tree or something. He's just like
he's injured, and she's like, he's just look at him. He's probably just as scared as I am. I'm thinking like, lizard, just kill her, kill her.
See, now I didn't take that her behavior to be that, because Shooter had written her in the past.
She seems superficial.
No question, they gave her superficial dialogue, but when it came time to get down to business, and I don't mean Magneto business.
the eyes had it.
But it said she was there, so I think he didn't. He kind of wrote her as more narcissistic, maybe, than flighty, but yeah, that's a minor complaint, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right. I mean, it never really bothered me because, I mean, you think about it, Jan's the fashion designer. Yeah. She's socialite. I think it fit with the character really well, actually. The biggest problem I have with Wasp, I've said it before, is just the costume.
Did you just actually?
Ash, are you here?
I mean, no one's ever seen me and Ash in the same room.
But... Show us your hands. That's all we'll know. Okay, it's not Ash. Ash would never wear that little jewelry on.
This right here.
Ring.
It's on the wrong finger for you. I'm sorry. There you go.
That would have been a lot more impressive if you borrowed one of Pixel's fingers to do.
It would have been. If I need to get like a prosthetic finger that just extends it out a little bit.
All you gotta do is go get the glove they use for if you're gonna be the Grinch. It's the same length, and it's pretty much how the Pixel is.
Interesting.
The Pixel.
The Pixel. Yeah. See, now has a "the" in front of his name. But yeah, here we go. Here's Claw. And I remember the first time I read this, I thought this was like the dumbest villain. Now I like him. But yeah, I thought this guy was just like a goofball.
Well, he is in this series. His mind is scrambled eggs.
Yeah, you get like his little origin right here. You get like a little appearance of Dazzler. He talks about when he goes up against Dazzler and how Galactus turns Dazzler into a herald.
He basically fired his energy blast at her, and she absorbed him, and then later on, he was basically displaced energy into the walls of Galactus's home. Mm-hmm. And he comes off as a goofball.
Yeah,
and but it's just great though because we get to see Doom being Doom and just basically condescending, just tell him shut up.
Right. I basically point out that on the surface, you see here, Galactus makes Dazzler a herald. That's, on the surface, that sounds like the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like when you are trying to describe a soap opera to somebody and you just list one of the crazy things. And then if you put everything else with it for context, yes, it may still be silly, but it was far more believable than anything, than like Squirrel Girl one punching him or something. So I mean,
that's true.
It is a glow up for her.
Boy, I don't know whether to applaud that or not. That's such a bad joke. Oh,
don't worry, you'll see the light of it soon.
I don't like that at all. Anyway, so yeah, we've got Professor X is kind of, we get some Professor X here. He's kind of using his mind. He's trying to like reach out and figure out what the villains are doing. Tries to get into Enchantress's mind, and Enchantress is like, "You're a joke!" Like blocks him out of her brain. I thought that was kind of funny. And
he's becoming really, in this, especially this issue here, he's becoming more of a villain.
He does have. He's not very.
This is kids. This is the beginning of the Maker.
Yeah, he's definitely not the straightforward, he does seem to have like he's not sharing facts and stuff with his own team. He does seem like he has ulterior motives here.
Are we talking about Doom?
No, Professor X.
Oh, Professor X.
Yeah. Doom always has ulterior motives. That's a given.
Because after this whole thing, he tries to read it and change his mind, basically gets rejected and laughed at. He calls the X-Men to the room, and even Magneto says it's like wow, they really come at your beck and call. It's like, yeah, and they're made aware of basically of what Galactus is doing up there, and he pretty much bosses them around, even though Storm's the team leader, but he basically made a mention before this. He's like, man, I wish I would have had my chair with me from the last space, because walking is a bitch,
You also have to remember though, Jan did cede the power to Captain America for the duration.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because she's like, we're on a strange world. On Captain America commands more respect. People might second guess her. People that don't know the Avengers or don't know her might second guess her.
So Storm pretty much tells him, he's like, and she's like, give your orders and see who follows them, because you are not in charge of anything.
Yeah, right.
You are just a man who
he's like, I'm not going to tolerate mutiny or insubordination.
You know what it is? It's because she's black and she's a woman. He's a racist.
Yeah, I know. They should have Disney call them out in a tweet or something. Then you've got, here we go, more Colossus and Zaji. Zaji is like walking away, and then who comes in? Human Torch swoops her up.
He's like, hey babe, don't go by that Rusky. Stick with me. I'm hot.
Yeah, exactly. He starts like singing while they're flying in the air, and it's like, and then there's like Colossus. He's like, rejected. Focus. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like it's just what gets kind of confusing, because like obviously he's happy with Johnny, but I'm just thinking like I haven't read ahead like you guys probably have. That's my first time reading it, so I'm just speculating. Is she gonna be like a problem for them later?
No.
But I'm just saying. I've all the different tropes over the years stuff. She's and then like I said, there's a lot of
scroll.
I'm like, and the other thing too is we learned going through the later issues, we learned that it's like some people were actually made by the Beyonder, as far as or you think they are, you're not sure, because there's people popping up in the series, just because like a part of a world has been basically battle world has been made up of planets.
Yeah, right.
So, you know what else we learned? We learned what Jim Shooter did in his spare time. He was wanting his MTV. Because you had I'll Tumble For You a few issues ago. You got
Thriller. Oh yeah, Thriller.
Yeah, I said because a much better song to be singing in this moment would have been "Fly Me to the Moon," but no.
He did Thriller.
Jim had
lift me up where I belong.
Yeah, see, that would have worked too.
I know.
Burn, baby, burn. Disco.
Because that movie was only 2 years old when this was published.
Ah, okay.
That movie is so old. How old is it?
How old is it?
I saw it at the theater.
So old, it has a slipcover.
I didn't go to a theater between the first Michael Keaton Batman and the first Avengers movie. So I was the Cal Ripken of not going to the theater. But I did see An Officer and a Gentleman in a theater. Yeah, actually, I was on a date. I tried to carry her out of the theater after it was over.
An Officer and a Gentleman, that movie, An Officer and Gentleman, made today would be a whole different meaning from that.
Probably would be. So,
I would have loved this when it came out in in the
after
80s.
Jim.
No, I would have loved this one came out 2 years later, because we had Top Gun. We would have got more Top Gun references in this movie, in this series.
Well, we get this really cool scene where I thought this is always one of the scenes that stuck with me. While the Avengers are planning how to attack Galactus, there's this scene between Hawkeye and Spider-Man.
Oh, this is great.
And Spider-Man's like, "Hey, you making your own arrows?" And Hawkeye's
Hold on, go back. I'll full screen yet.
Okay.
I want you to
He's like, hey, you're making your own arrows, huh? And Hawkeye is like, yeah, because Mr. Fantastic used up all of his fancy arrows to get out from under the mountain. And
yeah, you see
Spider-Man's like, I know what you mean. He used my web shooters too. And
but
Hawkeye's
not
like,
only that, after you get that interaction, you get to see the other interaction. This is where they confirm that it's not Tony in there.
I'm not. Hang on. Let me finish with Hawkeye, because he says, "Well, no, you really don't get it, dude. You still have all your other powers. If I don't have fancy arrows or a bow, I'm just a guy in a funny suit." So it's like Hawkeye really is like the most powerless guy there once you take his arrows away. But yes, you do also get the scene where Rhodey is going to hit on Monica Rambeau, and then Monica's like, nope. She's out of there. She's going to go scout.
I'm not in the mood for a singles bar chit-chat.
Yeah, right.
But what's crazy, though, is like you see him, he walks away after that. He's like, what's wrong with that woman? And what's wrong with me? My head hurts.
Yeah.
Makes me think that somebody's messing with his head.
Okay, now, again, can I have the screen for a second?
Sure.
There's more content. If all of Marvel's books were still good, I wouldn't exist.
It's ironically you have that.
The Marvel mascot. I've saved that all this time.
You know what's funny though? It's ironic that you have that. You might get copied, all right, for copyright infringement, because there's a guy named Twilly, and every day he says the word of the day. Every day it's a different way how to say the word poop.
Well, fortunately, this guy, just like all but a select few, aren't watching, so we'll probably be able to get that.
Oh crap! He's in the chat now.
Okay, now in Iron Man's own title, one of the reasons that led to a great rift between Tony and Rhodey after Tony got sober was two things. Rhodey didn't want to give up the armor, but the armor was not. It wasn't configured to his brain patterns. Yep. And Tony was so drunk out of his mind that he forgot that. Now he tried to explain to Jim. He goes, "I don't want to be Iron Man. I'll fix the armor, to where it's configures to you." And he was so irrationally jealous by then, he took that to mean that Tony would try to sabotage him. So again, that's a great thing. Like I said, a series that could have been just phoned in. There's almost every character gets something that's affecting them in their own book. Like the Hulk's diminishing intelligence and becoming more angry. That thing with Jim Rhodes. And I said, Spider-Man. The list goes. Colossus. I mean, and that's it. People can dump on us all they want, but I really don't need to be on full screen anymore. But I said I would take this over anything Marvel has done since All New, All Different.
True.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
No, Glenzer, I did not, because you can actually do something with that, and it serves a purpose. Unlike Marvel Comics, yes, you can use them, but it would just chafe.
You also realize there's no such thing as a 2022 Marvel comic book.
Yeah, what 2022 Marvel comic book?
Yeah, they stopped in 2014, according to Breen.
They stopped in 20. Actually, they stopped in 2007, and they added one more day after that.
No. We've got proof. We did Siege. We did Siege. It sucks what happened to Spider-Man, but yes,
nothing happened to Spider-Man. He's fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Speaking of Marvel, you saw where Bill Jamas left AWA?
Who left?
Bill Jamas. He was the CEO at Marvel in the early 2000s. The only thing he did right was, give Marvel Knights to Joe Quesada. But the regular Marvel universe under him was trash. But he and Axel Alonso were doing AWA. And now he resigns the same day Quesada does.
Interesting.
Because Automat's going to be in the new. Right?
More likely than not.
I'm sorry, Eric. When you called me out, the reason I asked you what you're talking about, because when you say AW, I think of wrestling. And I'm watching a lot of AWA on YouTube.
Wonder you knew that Vern Gagne was the booker, because how else did he ever win a match? He looks like the guy that comes up and says, "I can fix it, but I'm going to have to order the part."
Did he get the part in? They put me on hold. I'll call him back later.
So we get this scene where Wolverine, Cyclops, and Rogue are like out scouting, and they run into like the whole mess of villains like Doc Ock and Titania, Molecule Man, and Wolverine. He knows the score. He's like, okay, Molecule Man's the big threat, so he goes after him. And this is what you were talking about, Venkman, where Cyclops is like, no, and so he like
he's gonna kill him, and then
he blasts Wolverine in the arm. He's like, you idiot!
It's kind of interesting to see because of Volcana.
Titania.
No, I'm saying before is pretty much. Remember, he said he was peaceful pacifist. Now he has something to fight for. Right. So as you're seeing him become more bold, doing stuff.
Yep.
She's coerced him. See, a woman corrupted him.
Yeah. And so they got Molecule Man. You can see he's like really injured. So the villains all retreat. And here's, that Cyclops Wolverine dialogue. He's like, listen, you want to be on our side, you don't kill. And you can see in really tiny letters. He's like, Summers, you lily-livered lame excuse for mumble. So that's kind of fun.
And then when he watches the Reds games.
Yeah, it's exactly how I imagine Green talking. Then we go back to the swamp.
Red Sox.
The Red Sox.
Yeah. I have no illusions about the Reds.
Well, they have socks on or not, it doesn't make a difference, really.
But then we go back to the swamp, and Wasp is like, oh, well, we'll just patch up the lizard. Maybe it'll be like the lion and the mouse that pulls the thorn out of its paw, right? That's like the whole thought process she's having. So she patches up the lizard, and then out of nowhere, the giant battle tank comes out that you were talking about.
When I see her like talking to like the lizard stuff, I'm like, please don't make out with him too. Please don't.
Now, I will say, as much as I compliment Shooter for this book, I don't get the lizard's personality, because the lizard is a bad SOB.
He wants to everybody in lizards. Yeah, that's his whole.
And he just was. I don't know if something. I don't think they ever explained it. If something scrambled his brain even further, being plucked from wherever he was, because I don't recall him having been used at Marvel. Okay, no, it'd been a couple of years. I think there was a story in Peter Parker where it was the lizard and a character, I think, called the Iguana. So there was a battle of the lizards. It was like Peter Parker 35, 6, and 7, maybe. But I don't recall him being, when we reverted back to Kurt Connors, I don't remember his lizard side of his personality being anything other than just a total badass. So this was far more out of character, I think, than any other character used in this series.
He has Connor's brain in this, doesn't he?
I would think. No, I don't think so.
Hulk in a sense.
No, the only time he got any of Kurt Connor's brain when he became the lizard was an outside. It was like an underlying factor, like the Morbius biting him in that issue of Spider-Man, or something that they're working on, like a side effect. Like we'll give him glimpses of it, like where he'll protect his son, but he won't know why.
Well, I mean, like in a sense, not completely Connor's brain where he's like Professor Hulk like that. But I'm just saying the sense that he's not attacking Jen. He's because
he's written out of character.
That's what I mean. It just felt like the Beyonder just gave him back like a sense of morality a little bit. He's not just
a little bit
smash.
I think he was portrayed as this as like almost like a a special needs child.
Kinda.
Can you hold up a picture of that battle tank though?
The battle tank.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So Wasp patches them up.
Look
then
at that
she
thing.
shot with the laser, and then the giant tank
I
comes up.
want
That'll
that.
the
It's
record
look
for.
at it's Pixar.
And then actually, let me turn the page
Look
here.
at it.
There you
It
go,
looks
right
like
there.
Pixar cars with the two eyes.
It kind of does. Ka-chow!
I know.
The two guys in the windshield look like eyeballs.
I have to ask Meyer Greenblatt if he has any Secret Wars toys, because that's his specialty.
Yep.
Yeah. So what you got here though is it gives the appearance that the wrecking crew who's driving this tank, you get the assumption that they just shot and killed the Wasp, and like they pick up her corpse.
They shot her right through the boobie.
Right through the chest. Yeah, they shoot her. And then it takes us to the final page of number 6. The Avengers are still looking up at Galactus, summoning his home.
The tubes and everything. I'm just saying, it looks like a gerbil thing.
And then, so they're planning things, but there's
perfect hair in the background.
There's a mysterious figure lurking in the shadows.
Black Widow.
Who is it? We find out in the next issue. There it is. There she is, right there, next to Cap's head.
But I want to say that before we get to that panel we showed where she was right above it, where the thing he's saying, it's like, Cap, let's do something. Even just to stall it, maybe we can interest him in a game of poker.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It says that, yeah.
The thing, he's like, I just want to play poker and like drink beers. It's like,
yeah. But and Cap's like, no, we'll give Reed one more chance to reason with him.
Yeah.
But everybody else is like, dude, let's just go and fight him already. Everybody else just wants to get the fighting on. But yeah, and then that takes us into number 7, which they don't waste time. They with the mysterious figure.
They show it says next and it says Berserker, but they spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, they waste no time.
This is before Engeltein got a hold of this copy.
Human Torch finds her and he's like, hey, who are you? And she's like, I'm Spider-Woman. Like, you're not Jessica Drew.
They're like, I love it. It's like, I'm just thinking like Spider-Man, like, great, another one.
Right. He's like, I'm going to have to get a patent or a trademark or something.
Fortunately, Bendis makes that joke 20 years later or 10 years later.
In New Avengers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like
20 years. Yeah, 20 years later.
Where they ask if Spider-Man and Spider-Woman are related or something. Spider-Man's like, no. There's like 3 other Spider-Women. But yeah, then what happens on top of that? The giant battle tank comes through again. I'll show you your battle tank again. And there you go, driving through and does a drive-by. They literally just drive by to do nothing else but throw
just
the Wasp's body.
Toss the dead body up.
Just like, catch.
Look at go put it a little closer.
Yeah.
If you look a little closer, look at that. They're just yeeting her off the tank.
Just like, here, catch. And so yeah, he just literally just drives by.
Every time I look at the panel, you see the little body just flying out.
Whee! So yeah, the Avengers, they go to get her. Jen takes it. Well, there you go. Jen's the one, because Jennifer, I think, had been like wanting to find the Wasp for the past few issues, because they're best friends at this point.
I love the action running shots.
Those are cool. The running shots are really cool. You see the Hulk jumping, and yeah, it's really cool. And She-Hulk has like the leg warmer socks.
And then you get to see like Johnny's girlfriend's like, I can't save her.
She's like, yeah. Thor's like, no one can save her. She's dead, Jim.
And you know what the wrecker said when he threw her out of the war wagon, don't you?
Yeah, hey jerks, here's a present for you from the wrecking crew.
No, actually, see, it says, wouldn't be right to let you live after we kill Franklin. He was our friend.
I got that copy too, oddly enough.
It's the night shift edition.
Yep. But then after this though, Jen and a whole bunch of the other Avengers, they're all like bloodthirsty. They all want to go after Doom and the bad guys. Cap has to like pull them back in. It's like, hey guys.
She-Hulk is the boldest one, and then Hulk, he's like, no, I want revenge.
Right. And Cap's like, no, we need to focus on Galactus. But yeah, you're right. Jen and Hulk are like, they get bloodthirsty. They're ready to go crack some skulls. So, but then and also They both Wasp is dead on the good guy side and on the bad guy side. Remember, Molecule Man got sliced open by Wolverine.
Yeah.
So
That is...
Titania is with them, and then Volcana is like gets desperate, so she goes to Enchantress because she knows Enchantress is like magic. So she's like,
"I'm sorry." Let's go, Brandon.
But she's like, I'll do anything, name it, I'll pay your price. And Enchantress is like, rash words, and you'll live to regret them. And she's like, poofs her away, and she shows up, poof, like magic teleportation. So, but yeah,
and this is what. Now you show that picture up of her running towards Molecule Man.
That one right there.
Her running straight at him, and that would have woke me up out of a coma.
Yeah.
She's basically wearing a one-piece bathing suit.
Well, yeah, because of course
when
she turns into Volcana, you can see right here this little transformation picture. She like just turns. It's almost like the Human Torch. She gets lit up.
Actually, it's more like binary if you think about it.
Kinda.
Back when she was written well.
Then you get the but then the X-Men and Magneto show up and they fight the villains. Wolverine, actually, there's this really awesome moment where Wolverine goes through the Absorbing Man, just like cuts his arm clean off.
Yeah, I saw. Now I thought about that. He cut his arm off. He's like, "Oh, my arm." He grabs it.
He's like,
he must be able to reattach it, I assume, right?
Well, he doesn't know that though. He's you can see here he looks like really worried about it.
Is. I was just wondering because because obviously that'd be out of canon,
Yeah, no, there is a scene, actually, it's a few pages later, where Absorbing Man, you see him, he's like just standing here, and he's like, what he does is he puts the arm back where the stub is while he's in this material, and then he changes back to human, and he's like, it works! It's sore, but it works! I feel like I'm going to puke, but it works.
Hurt like the devil.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool though. It's like he's just learning how his power
He's
works.
lucky that it was a clean break. He's gonna pop out because usually when he breaks up with statue toys, it never fits back together.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, he's a slow learner because he'd been around since Journey into Mystery 114.
I know, right?
Yeah, he's apparently a little slow.
My thing is that he turned the Rock. I would have turned the adamantium, and went against Wolverine.
Well, Ultron wasn't with them at that fight. I don't think Ultron
Wolverine
was
is there. Can he just look at it and just?
No, he has to touch it.
Oh,
he's got to touch whatever. That's why he's called the Absorbing Man. Yeah. But yeah, then
I thought it was absorbing because he absorbs a lot of abuse online.
They show up back at the headquarters and go ahead.
I was saying real quick, Maranya, thank you for not saying pals of old puppets to describe us.
Actually, it's and friends of old puppets.
Yeah, pals of old puppets and friends.
Swoop, as she says.
But yeah, so the bad guys,
fossils.
They're coming back. They're trying to regroup, and like they have the lizard because they caught the lizard, and so they're like, lizard's he's crazy. He's like scratching up everyone's faces, so they throw him in a cell, and that's where Claw is still. If you forgot about Claw, he's still around. And he goes, you can't really see it. It's not catching it on the. Well, no, it's not the screen. It's like you just can't catch it because it's so bright. He says, "Lizard, izzard, izzard, izzard."
You have a problem with something being bright? You want it to be darker? Oh, might be changing after all.
Anyway.
Well, Zach, if it makes you feel any better, I'm getting age joked in the chat. So. What world are we living in where Venkman is getting off the easiest?
I know. It's so strange. He should be the butt of all the jokes, not us.
People like when I get off the easiest.
That's not what she said.
That's not. No, I refuse to believe that.
She pleads the fifth.
So,
as do all women.
Bulldozer is like, y'all go on ahead. I'm going to go take a nap. He goes in his room and he finds this mysterious hole that's just been punched through the wall. And who emerges from the shadows but the one who wanted revenge a few pages ago?
Yes, and this is where we get the first interaction between these two characters.
Yep. You see right here, She-Hulk just...
Titania Well,
Oh,
after
that's
she beats
bulldozer.
she beats the crap out of the Wrecking Crew.
She beats the Wrecking Crew. She goes crazy on the Wrecking Crew.
And this is where the Wrecking Crew are made even more into a joke.
Yeah, where Titania comes in the room and like She-Hulk has just wiped out the whole Wrecking Crew. That's so then yeah, Titania springs
You are
into
doomed,
action.
girl. Let's fight.
Now,
Yeah, right.
To be fair, she was avenging Jan.
Yes.
So I would imagine a little bit of that. The madder she gets, the stronger she gets.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's.
I can imagine. I can see that. And but yeah, well, Doc Ock comes in, and he's like, only one of them. I assumed from all the noise that we were under an all-out attack.
And then, like I said, you get to the end there, right there, the bottom. Scroll down.
Oh yeah, dude.
Now I think of the 10 Commandments when the kings come back and the wife's like, "What took you so long?"
That's a great scene. That's a great. Oh, that's awesome. That's
every time I think of that, like look at that, it's like
he comes back and the wife's like, "And what did you do?" Like not impressed or anything.
Just bickering. He's like, "I just lost my men." I like to keep you happy.
He goes and finds his emperor-sized bed. And he's like, "It's finished."
It's a inflatable bed.
We see like all these. I mean, Jen is just like getting wailed on now. She was winning in the first half, but then the second half, all these guys they got the drop on her. And yeah, so then we go away from there, and let me see. Captain America's here, sitting on the hill, all like pondering.
I want that top part as a poster.
That is really cool poster.
The Thinker, Captain America.
But then Hawkeye comes and he's like, "Hey, She-Hulk's missing. We should go find her." And Cap's like, "No, we're gonna stay here." And Hulk's like, "Cap, come on, she's my cousin." It's like, "Hulk, I wish I could. Wish I could say go get her, but the answer is no." Like Cap, I do not envy Captain America in this.
He said we can't allow ourselves the luxury of making decisions with our hearts.
Right, exactly. So, and then after this, something changes. Captain America all of a sudden gets a mental visit from Professor X. Saying, "Hey, my X-Men and Magneto, we're pretty close by. We're able to help. We'll keep an eye on Galactus if you want to go, do other stuff."
I like that. Look, go into the bottom.
Which one? This one?
Look at the thing.
Yeah. So now Captain's like, okay, the X-Men are close by. Let's go get the butchers.
You remember when Captain America had a head coming out of his leg? No.
Yes.
Well, now we got Hawkeye with a fist coming out of his head.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. It's a really weird placement. Yep. And then that takes us into our last issue of the night.
Yes, probably the most popular.
Definitely the hardest one to find if you're trying to fill out the collection. But yeah, it's a beautiful cover though, because of course you get the black suit, which is gonna become like a mainstay in Marvel.
I love Jazz Hands covers.
Well, then also you just have this all-out battle going on behind him too. I actually get lost looking at the battle behind him because you want to see like who's there, who's fighting who.
Amid the chaos, there comes the costume.
Yeah,
it kind of changed a little bit.
It's funny. The Avengers, they're on their way, and it opens up, and Enchantress is like day drinking. She's like, "More wine! I need more mead."
It'd be great if she would have smashed the cup and I'd like, another
one.
Thor.
Yeah, so things are not going her way.
Doesn't she?
She even falls over.
Does she realize that Thor's alive?
Falls over. What's that?
In this part of the story, does she know that Thor's alive?
I don't know if hang on.
She's been hanging out. She hasn't been on the battlefield.
I think she knows that Thor's alive because she watches him in a vision. I think.
Thor also doesn't have his cape here. It's so weird seeing him without his cape or his helmets.
Oh no! I think she does think Thor is dead.
That's why she's drinking.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why she's drinking really heavily. And then, Claw lets Lizard out. He's like, "Lizard, Izzard, I love the way you talk." That was funny to me. You can take me off full screen. he because when Lizard talks, he does the S, right? He's like, "Who frees me? Who speaks?" And then Claw's like, "I like the way you talk." Because they both have the speech impediments. That's pretty funny.
This is the only time it's the only time Claw spoke like this.
Oh, really? He
Yeah.
didn't speak like this any other time?
No.
Or he
No.
echoed his voice? Interesting.
I gotta say,
I'm assuming something happened in the Dazzler story.
Yeah.
That had an effect on this, because it's been a few years since I've read that.
You was bedazzled by her. That's fine.
Bedazzled. But yeah, then as Dr.
I gave up part of my Thursday for that joke.
Womp womp.
It wasn't that joke. There's more.
So.
Oh, great!
The villains are like, they hear the Avengers breaking in, so they're getting ready to leave, and Doc Ock is like, "I'll be right behind you. Let me do one more thing." And he slams She-Hulk into a wall, and he's like, "Okay, one less one to worry about." But then you've got the Avengers. They break in.
Okay.
They're leading the charge. Iron Man flies past the wrecker and gets ambushed.
And then he screams like a girl.
Yep.
Or is it Yog? Or is it Yog? I can't remember.
Yog. But he's like, "Yeah, good thing I was the first one through. My armor can hold up to this." So
These great phone bits are gonna get it from me.
Turns around and blasts him through a wall. And so we get.
Glinzer's saying his Secret Wars 8 came out before Spider-Man 252.
Yes, I believe so.
No,
assuming.
Oh
no, because the books themselves, this was one of those instances where they came back,
right.
And you had to you found out why things were the way they were over the course of the next year.
So if Spider-Man 252 came out first, wouldn't that be the first appearance of the black suit then?
Yeah.
Okay. I always assumed that this was the first appearance. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, we get the heroes. They get to fight the villains.
And this is interesting too, though. When they're fighting, you got Thor versus Doc Ock. Mm-hmm. You have I believe it's. Who is he going against? The guy is that Paul Driver, and he just fires an arrow into his arm, and he's caught.
Oh yeah, because it's like a real arrow. It's not like a trick arrow or anything.
Yeah, and it just he's like, "I've been shot. Lordy, I'm wounded."
Well, there's also the scene where the Thing is fighting the Absorbing Man, and the Thing has one of his untimed transformations. So now he's no help to anybody, and Spider Girl has to come in and save his bacon. She just slams him into a wall. Absorbing Man's like, "Oh, I can't believe I got knocked out by a broad."
As soon as I peel myself out of this wall, lady. And then
he gets
the ball.
He gets hit in the face with his own wrecking ball.
After he transforms back.
Yeah, right. So, and then the Enchantress is walking around. The Hulk finds the Enchantress, and Enchantress tries to seduce him. And wins. She the Hulk is no longer a threat. And then Captain America comes in. She tries. She tries the same thing.
I love this. So this is great because she's basically it's like, yeah, you wouldn't hit a woman. No, you would not strike me. And he's like, not if they're in the choice. Bang.
But I know what you can do with just a second to act. She's like, yeah, shield right to the head.
I know. So great.
Yeah, Jackson's bring up a good point. This came out the month Spider-Man 259 came out, and what they're trumpeting on the cover of 259 is him being back in the original suit. So I'm wondering if they did that not to detract. They wanted to give that, I guess, its own spotlight for the month.
Interesting.
Although there was, Peter Parker was also going on, and I don't think it started yet, but
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we get a few other fights here.
Spider-Man is going to finally get a Spider-Man fight.
Yeah, Spider-Man finally gets back in there. He starts fighting Titania.
You're going to show everything else.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
We're at 12. Keep showing the pictures.
Yeah. So Spider-Man's, taunting Titania. Titania gets angry. Spider-Man's like, nah, he can't hit me. And she's like, well, I don't have to. I can hit the floor. And Spider-Man's like, whoa. So we get that. And then she grabs this giant steel beam and is about to crush the guy like a bug. And then we get, Hawkeye, Ben Grimm, you lost your rocks. And he's like, yeah, again. He kind of points Hawkeye down a hallway. We get some of the villains here surrounding Hawkeye as he goes down there alone. And Hawkeye's like, because remember, he's just a guy without any arrows.
Right.
So he's like, I guess I'll just have to outwit these guys.
This is the issue. When I talk about how people don't understand how to write Spider-Man anymore.
Yep.
This is the issue where, he hits Bulldozer so hard it knocks off his helmet. I've never seen anybody do that. So he takes out Bulldozer with one punch, and he beats Titania.
Yeah.
In the same issue. Hell, I don't think he had 2 wins that impressive in Slott's entire run.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Right before he gets smashed, he slides out.
Yeah, I guess Bulldozer's like, yeah, so now he'll be a bloody smear on the wall instead of the floor. He's like, oh, never mind. Bam. And then you get Crusher Creel saying, that kid dropped Bulldozer one shot. Yeah, I better absorb the strength of this alien steel before I tackle him.
He grabs her by the foot. This is how Spider-Man wins the fight. He grabs her by the foot and then throws her, just like straight up throws her out the building. And then she lands on the bottom. She's like, it's not fair.
I figured that if she's that tough enough to stop, then she can't fly.
Yeah.
That's Bray's move.
You get this really cool. This is another scene. I remember this from the first time that I read this book. Captain America and the Human Torch come across Ultron.
Oh, yeah.
Human Torch is like, he's not melting. And so Cap tells him to go Nova Flame.
Use my shield.
And he uses his shield to defend himself. And then, wrong way. So you can see right here, like, look, that right there, as hot as Human Torch can go.
Yeah.
That just shows how awesome that you can even see in the aftermath. Like, everything else around is melted. Like, it's insane. And then Human Torch is down here, finally burned him out. So, yeah, some really cool battles take place in this issue between the heroes and the villains. It's got a lot of really cool stuff.
And then we get the next scene. He's in walking on. There they are. Is Hawkeye, Lizard, and Claw, and just Ben. They're just.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're playing patty cake. Focus. Come on. Oh yeah, you can see it's a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah,
yeah, you can see.
The disturbing thing is that Ben's still in his underwear.
Well, yeah, he's still in human form. Yeah, and Ben's like, we've arrived at a meeting of the minds, Stretcho. And then they find She-Hulk. Captain Marvel finds She-Hulk, so they get her in a healing pod. They put Molecule Man. They treat their prisoners much more humanely than the bad guys treat their prisoners. So, and yeah, we get a big surprise though towards the end. Hawkeye and Captain Marvel are going to go find the Wasp's body because they say they want to give her a proper burial.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this whole time later, they go to find her. Well, actually, no, that's Colossus and Zaji. They go to find Wasp, and they find out she's not dead. She's alive, and of course, going with what you were saying, Pinkman. I just realized I don't have any makeup, and my hair must be a mess. So yeah, and then
we cut to a picture of the X-Men up in the tower watching Galactus humping a building or a wall.
It does look like that, doesn't it? He does look like he's
just rock climbing, or he's having fun.
It's questionable. And then of course we go down here, and this is I think the first time that you can really tell.
That's cool.
That
it's not Tony.
In the armor. Yeah, that's the first time you can tell. And of course there's this really cool exchange where Rhodes is like, "I'm curious. Were you
At this point,
surprised
they
there
still
was
look
a
like
black
20
man?"
Iron Man. So they never, he thought it was a robot, Or he's like, "Oh, I never gave it a thought. I knew there was a man under there." But
Yeah.
but he says, "I'm curious. Were you surprised there was a black man under the metal?" Like,
Right.
I'm thinking, Rhodey, you racist. He doesn't care about who was under the metal.
Right. And then, of course, the big part that the cover was talking about, Spider-Man, his suit's all
That is
damaged,
so cool.
and he sees Thor come in because there's Thor with his cape and his helmet again. And so he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And Hulk's like, "Yeah, there's a machine in there. Just think what you want, and it'll make it for you." So Spider-Man goes in there, and what does he say? He's like, which one of these gizmos in it? So he puts on the helmet, he thinks, and he's like, "Well, what's this little black thing do? It's making my skin tingle." And of course, it starts to take over his whole costume.
Yeah.
And then, "Well, I'll be an 8-balls uncle." One of my favorite new Spider-Man lines.
Yeah, and then we get the giant floating head. Or Engeltine.
Professor X. Or Engeltine. He's
it's
like, "Galactus is devouring the planet. It's dinner time."
And then the Beyonder just snapped his fingers and says no.
Yeah. So really, really great issue. I think issue number 8. I mean, aside from the cover, of course, the cover is great, but I just think that as far as action goes, issue number 8 is one of the better issues of the entire story.
If you're a Spider-Man fan, you couldn't ask for anything more than this issue delivered.
Like I said,
yeah, definitely.
All we want is him to fight like that.
Yeah, you don't see him do anything. I think the last time you see him do something is when he fights the X-Men, and that's like back in like.
And that's the thing that people, just like Superman in post-crisis, a lot of people forget that Spider-Man's holding back this whole entire time. If you find someone he can really go toe-to-toe with, he goes all out.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I liked about the draw, that not even being an underdog doing that stuff, but when it came to it, he'll punch until his hands are bleeding.
Yeah. And to his credit, that is one scene. I think Bendis wrote it. It was in the Avengers versus X-Men series where he stalled and allowed Avengers to escape while he fought a Phoenix-powered Colossus and Magic at the same time. And just basically, he'd get up and they punch him down. So to his credit, Bendis wrote him really well, I think, in that scene, whichever issue that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. This was a great stuff going on with Spider-Man. Like I said, you had great stuff going on with She-Hulk and Titania, and just a whole bunch of characters kind of get their own little moment to shine. Kind of, it feels like. Like I said, the Human Torch and Captain America scene was one of the things I remember from way back the first time I read the story. I thought that was like one of the coolest scenes in the whole epic.
Yes. Next issue, it's all out war against Galactus and Spider-Man versus the Human Torch playing pranks.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you joke, but yeah, that is actually something that happens. People get aggravated at Spider-Man again.
So I don't know what more we can say about this, because otherwise we're going into the next couple of issues. I mean, I enjoy this for what it is. It is just great fun. Like I said, Spider-Man's written like how he should be written.
Yep. They're all written really well. I mean, Enchantress is, drinking herself to death because she thinks Thor is because we all forget, or at least not we all, but people forget Enchantress really just wants to be with Thor.
I want to point out that Doom is written this, where do you see a Doom tattered and worn out like this?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a butt of a joke to make somebody else look better.
Right.
It's just that it shows that even Doom, as powerful he is going up someone who's much more powerful than he is.
Right.
So even Doom has his limits.
Yeah, he's getting a little big.
But it doesn't mean that he's out, though. It just means that because Doom's always thinking.
Right.
He's a mad thinker. He's basically like the evil version of Reed Richards.
Yeah. You get that. You get Captain America being like the logical, hey, let's not think with our hearts. Let's actually stick to the plan. You get
it was odd to see, because Enchantress had said hey, if you want, I can restore your face. He's like, you quit. And he kind of caught him off guard. Wait, you could do that?
Yeah, right.
But then he's like, oh, there's a price for that. It's like, if you do that.
She says that a lot to a lot of people. She says that to Volcana too. Like, there's a price. Now the difference is Volcana, of course, is like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, whatever.
Green.
But
everyone's got a price.
For the $1 Million Man.
I think we'll end it here.
I gotta
Well,
agree with Rhaegar. I am kind of sad the MCU never utilized the Enchantress. I think she would have been good for a Thor movie.
yeah. I think let's just end it here because we're gonna be going live in a few more minutes. Skip and Tosh should be joining us as well. Breen, you're welcome back as well. We're gonna talk about the best books of the week.
Well, I'm going to take this time to
Use the bathroom and eat.
Well, no, eat. Maybe not that order. But if you throw me a link, I'll come on. When you get done with that, and talk a little just comics in general, and
like I said, I guys trying to keep this a little tight and neat, And I said,
hey, we hit double digits. I think it's the first time we've done that as we've aired. So thank you to everybody that showed up to maybe not learn anything because we kind of rambled, but hey,
we rambled, but we showed pictures.
I said the 80s at Marvel was their creative zenith. I mean, the 60s obviously set everything up, but as far as like any era post, the first five or 6 years, the 80s, just like I said, there's so much greatness from Marvel in this decade. And I said, if this isn't great, it's definitely very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this story when I read it. I still love it now. It holds up over the years. It is. I love everyone gets a spotlight. There's nobody here that really feels like a background character. And the consequences that come out of this as well are just.
I got a fat stack this week, so tune in.
And you're gonna make it rain,
like your mother.
She's a beautiful woman.
That she is. All right, we're dropping like flies here.
Pew, pew, pew.
I'll see you guys in the next few minutes.
All right. Good night, kids.
Arrivederci.